Hello and welcome back to Anime with me, Asteroidia, and this thing. Anyway, today we're here to watch Ningen Fushin, Episode 3, Disillusioned Adventures Will Save the World, or so we are told. Gotta be honest with you, this is a slightly weird video in that I am maybe about let's say 70 to 80% sure I'm dropping this show and that this video won't go up at all. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I want to put any like massively pertinent channel information in this introduction or really much of anything in this introduction because chances are I'm not going to use it. But I do want to record this, A, just in case this episode is really good, and B, in case future episodes are really good and I want to start doing it again. I don't want to waste this reaction or have to like re-react to Episode 3 or something weird like that. So I'm going to go through the whole spiel. We'll go through the discussion afterwards, and then I will decide whether or not I want to keep it. Unless it's so bad halfway through the episode that I just give up. No, that's being a little unfair to the series. It's not terrible. It's just not very interesting and not really very well put together. Yeah, kind of generic, but also kind of inept, shall we say. And like I could put up with the generic if it was well made, and I could put up with slightly shoddily made if it was interesting, but with it being neither of those things so far, and being a bit tonally weird, as we've discussed in previous episodes, it's not. I'm not really enjoying it very much. The videos aren't performing very well on the channel either. So either there are kind of two possibilities with that. One is that no one else is enjoying it very much either, or two, which is possibly more likely, is that people are kind of picking up on the fact that I don't like it very much and are not watching the videos. And it's not that, they're not picking up momentum that way. So either possibility, it doesn't really matter which one it is. Either way, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a particularly useful thing to keep going on with if I'm not enjoying it. If I was enjoying it, no one was watching it, I'd still record these. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, so last episode we went through some kind of interpersonal drama with people trying to learn to sort of trust each other in a weird sort of transactional way that was kind of, yeah, I can see where they were going for it. It was a little bit, they drew it out a little bit longer than I think was strictly speaking necessary, but yeah, okay, I get what they were going for. And it looked like we were about to get more backstory on the Dragon Girl, which I think is quite likely, given that the still that this episode is sitting on to open with is a picture of her tail being attacked by some kind of giant cricket. I don't know what's going on. Let's find out. How about that? So, this is. Got anything else we need to go through? No. This is a timer-based reaction as always, so you will need your own copy of the episode to follow along. I will include a sliver of the episode with the subtitles at the bottom of the screen to help with syncing things up, and a timer for the same reason. And I will give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown when we are ready to start the episode. So I'll just make sure everything's ready on my end, which it is. And without further ado, on your marks, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. We got Dragon Girl and a cricket and some kind of underground chamber and a coffee. Interesting shot. That is slightly strangely put together, and it doesn't really looked like the bug was moving over a flat surface, so kind of looked like there's a big glass plate sitting on top of her, but it's fine. So she broke that last episode. Just a touch less volume on that would be great. There we go. Yeah, ED. This isn't an ED. The OP is it's fine. Good enough song. The character designs are really good. Big Hat Sorceress, although yeah, he really should have kept the beard. Her design's really cool too. Dragon Girl looks a bit off model, and that one's still in the OP, which is like, okay. That the idol thing as well. That's just weird. And we got this fifth party member who we haven't met yet. I assume we'll probably find relatively soon. Okay. Oh, she got scammed to buy that. Right. Her face seems kind of inconsistent this episode already. Oh dear. Ah, so this is her previous party. Look at her face in the background. Hmm. Wow. Okay. So she's a little naive, new to big city life. Wonder where the dragonids come from. Drop my pen. Not that this is the kind of show that really requires copious notes, but still. Dragonians. I think I called them dragons. You get confused when there's all this D&D stuff all over the place. It's a very small bed, but okay. I guess she's quite tall. Nice CGI extras there. Okay, that's her dragonstone thing they mentioned in the previous episode. I can't actually remember. Did they steal it from her, or yeah? I think he turned out to be a bad guy, and they tried to steal it from her, or did steal it from her. I'm not totally sure. Again, I do have my criticisms about the art in this show, but the character designs are really good, and I like that she does actually have like giant dragon talons. You know, they haven't completely copped out in the Beast Girl thing by just making her literally a human with like horns and a tail. Not that she isn't mostly that, but you know the talons are fairly monstrous. Ugh. Fair enough. You're laying it on pretty thick there, and those faces did not look right in that last frame. Oh, now we don't have faces at all. We're just not drawing the faces in. Okay, that's a choice for long distance shots, I guess. Pot of Greed. What's that? Yu-Gi-Oh? Or is that something else? No, it's Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Pot of Greed. Again, that's a very strange use of perspective. Like the perspective in this often seems really off. Oh, it's like a giant cobra. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the monster she described previously. Yeah, so she's tanking, and then they're going in to beat it up. That'll be regeneration of some kind, I assume. Oh, right. This is the point she gets kind of betrayed. Yeah, she gets like paralyzed or something, or otherwise incapacitated at any rate. And the comically evil betrayal. But she eventually makes it out anyway. Okay, her mistrust of other people made more sense in the last couple of episodes then, or at least the last episode. But they've already stolen it. And he presumably told everyone that she was dead. Yeah, okay. I see what the scam is here. But she keeps it because she's still got it in episode 2. Episode 2 started with this being accidentally broken, so I guess it's a symbol of her possible revenge against her old party, trying to get the Dragonstone thing back or something. Yeah, so then she spends some time trying to track them down. There are some deeply strange things going on with like angles and perspective in this show. Like kind of yeah, stuff that I really haven't seen in an anime for years. Like, what is that? That doesn't look right. Like that building wasn't right at all. Like the perspective was all off. Yeah. When I look at like just the really basic stuff, like architectural things don't seem quite right, but and like faces are off model and things. The size of things doesn't really seem to make sense. Okay, do we know this guy? Is he Kalios in different hair or is he like eating with like a straw in his mouth at the same time? That's kind of impressive. She's gonna immediately get taken in by someone else in terms of being absolutely conned. Where are we going with this? This seems to have gone off in a weird tangent. I assume we're going to bring this back. No, it's not Kalios with a haircut. I am sort of torn between being impressed and being weirded out that he always has that straw in his mouth when he's eating. They do eat a lot of bugs in this show. I mean, that's cool, but I've eaten bugs. Like cooked bugs, like not off the ground, but like I have no fundamental problem with it. It's just odd that it comes up so much. And why are you following this guy? Okay, this has officially gone on like twice as long as it really needed to. And she presumably catches the sword. I, I just don't. Why are we doing this? What has this got to do with anything? Okay, but like that, weren't you looking for your stone and what? 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 And like just stalking this random guy around different restaurants made you feel better? Why? Uh, uh, what? What? And then I never saw him. What the hell was the point of that? Why was that in the episode? You could have cut that out. Like the entire, you could have cut out that entire thing, and it would have made no difference. That added nothing to this episode. How long was that sequence? I feel like I'm going insane. What? What was that? That was wild. Okay, okay. Never mind. We'll just move on. That is ice cream with octopus tentacles sticking out of it. Okay. I'm sorry, I still can't get over that whole restaurant sequence. Okay, so there's this whole thing with the idol, who is inexplicably a modern style Japanese idol wearing modern looking clothing in this otherwise medieval fantasy world. But okay, okay, we're rolling with that as well. That's fine. Those buildings are really weird. The angles don't look right to me, but okay. The angles really don't look right to me at all on that. The character designs are nice. Why is it moving? Again, why is it? Oh my god, that. Some of the off model shots in this are just. I did wonder that. Yeah, cool. Have we got time to get some kind of point here, or are we just not going to do that? Why don't you just ask her about the pendant? Because she thinks you're asking about how swans taste. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he has no context for what that means. You don't know. Don't say, oh, you don't know what that means. That means literally nothing to you. That cut to her laughing there was really, really bad. What was that cut was weird as well. Like her kind of teleporting to the table. There was something wrong with that. was probably like this on that day. What day? What are you talking about? And now she's doing magic tricks. He looks like he's gonna. What was that? That was horrible. This must have only. There's no. Oh god, there's something wrong with the compositing there as well. Oh, it's one of the eye patch squirrel girls from the OP. Is it the other fit squirrel person? No. Okay, it's a magic sword. Oh, we've got a narrator now. Okay. It's a cool ED. I really like the ED on this. It's got a load of style. I think the animated, but I can't really remember now. But as far as I remember the animated bits, I like that the Dragon Girl's in a dinosaur mascot costume. I swear they put more effort. I want to watch this show. Can I watch this show about these like fancy adventurers starting a band? I want to. Well, okay, this is felt puppets, but I want to watch this show in the animation style that they're using instead of the show that we're getting. Because this is cool. I want to watch this show. Oh, so like pretending to eat things is like her thing, I guess. Makes about as much sense as anything else that happens in this. And that's it. Yeah, we're into a preview for next episode. Okay. What the hell was that? Um so like when I went into this, horrible squeaking noises, I'll try and edit those out. When I went into this, it was like I think I said at the start, I'm like 70% sure I'm not gonna continue this show, and I don't think I will. I also wasn't gonna bother editing this and like putting it up, but like this was so weird. Like in a bad way. That I am kind of tempted to edit it and put it up just so that there's like a testimony of this happening. Because this was focus. Thank you. This is bad, right? This is just real bad. The animation, such as it was from episodes 1 and 2, has taken a big downturn. There's some deeply off stuff about just basic geometry in this episode. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I'm not sure whether I want to try and pull this episode apart and like put up a load of clips of footage and stills and stuff just to show it, because it might actually be kind of interesting just to like dissect the really bad stuff in this. It's probably a lot of effort for not a lot of return though. But there are some shots in this, like wide shots where there's a wide shot when they're in the labyrinth when her party's about to betray her, and like, yeah, okay, in wide shots, right? When you've got characters in the distance, you're not necessarily going to put all the details on them, but you also have to like there has to be like a compromise between detail and closeness. And like if they're close enough to clearly see the faces, you have to have a face on the character model. You can't just animate them with no face when they're close enough for that to really draw attention to itself. Like how okay, yeah, I am going to put some stills from this up. How can you look at it'd be over there, wouldn't it? How can you look at that, right, and go, yeah, that's good. Let's go with that. It's like, why? Just draw a tiny little face in it. Why would you leave it like that? It doesn't make any sense. And there's like loads of weird geometry in this episode. Like just basic things like the backgrounds and the structures in the backgrounds really don't look right. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go through all of these, but you can see it if you've gone through this episode yourself. It's really obvious in places where the buildings just do not look right. Like the angles don't make sense for the shape the buildings should be. And they look like the really weird thing is they don't look. It's hard to say really with backgrounds, but some of these do look like kind of renders. They're maybe CG or at least have CG elements. It's like, why would your geometry be off? It's bad enough if your geometry's off if you hand animated it, but if you're already doing it as a 3D model, then how do you do that and still have the geometry of like cubes looking off? Like, ah, oh. Yeah, so I'm not going to go through all of the visual stuff. Loads of really weird off-model faces. Okay, the animation stuff, like this is super. Again, I've said before, I don't like necessarily using the word cheap, but it's difficult to find an adjective that works that has the same kind of connotations. This is super cheaply made, right? So it's like, okay, you know, you're expecting some kind of animation downturn in episode 3. That would be the place for it to happen if it's gonna. And like, okay, and like I said, if it was interesting, and it also was badly made, then I would be like, okay, well, I'll keep watching anyway. I've watched a few shows like that, although can't think of any off the top of my head. But like the structure of the story in this was so weird. Like, what was that? This okay, so this is kind of the elephant in the room here. Is like this whole central section, like, like okay, so the end of the first the first episode ends with the broken pendant. Okay, and we know that she's had a betrayal in her previous party, and I think we knew that they stole the stone from her, or we had that implied. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So we open this episode, and we've got this whole sequence, which is filling in that backstory. Yeah, her old party betrays her. We've got the whole thing with the pendant to kind of establish that she's naive and vulnerable to these tricks, and that these people have her old party or her new old party, if you know what I mean. The guy looks like Fabio. Yeah, I'm just going to call him that. Fabio has possibly seen that she's naive and easily tricked, and then has, you know, used that information against her by presenting himself as the good guy who's going to save her from these kind of people who aren't out for her best interests. That's where she picks up the pendant, which is the one that got broken at the end of the last episode, which is fine. Pretty sure we see her on the bed at some point, and the bed doesn't. I think the bed keeps changing size. We're just going to ignore that. And then they betray her, they steal from her, and yeah, okay. So everything up to that point makes sense. Like, it's not fantastic. It probably didn't need to take a whole 10 minutes of the episode, like half the episode, to do that, because we already knew this. And this is just basically showing us the stuff that they told us at the end of the last episode. And I'm like, I mean, either don't tell us it at the end of the last episode or don't show us all of this at the start of this episode. Like, pick one of those. You can't, yeah. It's good to do show, don't tell, but don't do both. Because that just means you take twice the amount of time. Yeah, so I mean, this was fine. And then she struggles back to town. She realizes that they've stolen all her stuff. And then she starts looking for her lost stone. And she just gets totally sidetracked by this guy ordering food in a restaurant, who she's immediately kind of like fifths, fiefs, who she's immediately like kind of infatuated slash enthralled with because he looks cool or something, or like the way he orders food looks cool, and he keeps this like a straw in his mouth even when he's eating, which is weird as hell. And like quarter of the episode is just her following him into different restaurants and like food stalls and ordering things he eats, but never actually talking to him until she stops his sword from falling over, and then he says like thanks, leaves, and then she says she never saw him again. Why is it? it what? Why? Why? Why is this in the episode? Why is this quarter of the episode? It's insane. This is absolute madness. Like, so this is how she learned to trust again, or something, or this is how she got over the immediate consequences of the betrayal. But that's what the entire previous episode was about, and that's kind of what she should be working through with her new party instead of with this random guy who she was stalking into places he wanted to eat at. This had literally nothing to do with anything else in the episode or her character arc. Like, okay. So this is based off a light novel, right? So is this like a side story or something that they've put in here just because that would maybe make sense, right? If they were trying to pad out the length of this episode, because of the way they've structured the rest of the series, and like they took like a couple of pages of side story and just stuck it in here where it doesn't make any sense, but where it comes or maybe even not where it comes chronologically, but they stuck something in here that didn't belong. That's what she said. Sorry, but they stuck something in here that didn't belong. Um, to try and pad out the time, maybe. But that it because I like thought the whole thing. To its credit, it wasn't predictable. Because what I thought was going to happen there was like the obvious thing, right? Which is basically what this show has done in every opportunity, apart from the weird idol stuff at the start. But everything this show has done has been the obvious thing so far. So when she started looking for her old party, we started the montage of her looking for her lost stuff in her old party. So I kind of thought that was just going to be a through line, and it would either I think we implied or were told in the last episode that there wasn't a confrontation. She hadn't got her stone back yet, so that probably wasn't going to happen. But I was waiting for either confrontation or for that montage to take us back to the present day, or take her back to the bar where she meets the other three for the first time. And just for it to go so wild, take such a wild left turn into something that just made no sense, added nothing to her character or to the plot, and just like wasted 5 minutes of this episode, which already has a load of things that just completely drag. And then we've got a conversation with the idol that is kind of only vaguely relevant because I mean he's talking about the pendant, but it's like who cares? Kind of established that the pendant isn't particularly important to her already, so we kind of know that. And they have this long conversation. Well, it's not even very long. It felt long. They have this conversation on the bridge where she says stuff to him, and he's like, "Oh, I see." But like she said stuff to him that is totally meaningless without the context of the flashback that we've just experienced, which he doesn't know. So like, that doesn't mean anything to him, you know. Like a dot of lint or something. Hope that hasn't been there the whole time. Honestly, the lint is more interesting. That's a little bit unfair. But this is really bad. It was bad in a way that surprised and confused me, which I guess is a plus and means that I might actually put this video up just because I think my reaction to this may be amusing to the few people that will watch this video. But yeah, I'm dropping this. This is really bad. I apologize to anyone who's a huge fan of this. The source material may be really good, or anyone who, for whatever reason, is even a fan of the anime. But like, this is perplexing. Super weird. Anyway, I don't want this video to go on for too much longer. I think I will. I will upload this actually because then this will be funny, if nothing else. Oh god. And if you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking or subscribing. There won't be any more of this, probably. Well, no. If anyone keeps watching this or is watching this in the far future and has watched the rest of Disillusioned Adventures and thinks it's really good or it picks up after this episode, please let me know in the comments, and I will consider watching the rest of it. But if you'd like to see any other shows that I might be following, please consider liking and subscribing and hitting the bell if you actually want to see more subscriptions, because that's the only way I ever see anything I'm subscribed to, as I would say. This has been Ningen Fushin, Disillusioned Adventures Will Save the World, Episode 3, Final. We have fulfilled our obligations to the 3-episode rule, and I think I'm done. I think this has broken me as a person. I will see you in the next episode of something else.